I want to talk about this term, off the grid. And I want to express that people get very attached to terms, and there's a certain perception of what off-the-grid living actually is. And I'm going to state my perspective, which I believe mirrors the perspectives of a lot of people watching this channel, and a lot of people that actually do live off the grid. Off-the-grid living is not the same as being someone that's living 100% self-sufficient. Being off the grid and being 100% self-sufficient, perfectly self-sufficient, they are not one and the same. This you must realize. Off the grid, what grid are we talking about? We're talking about the power grid. You know, the power grid. We're talking about having to pay a water bill, a sewer bill, a garbage bill, in some cases internet bill. But I do believe that you can still be off the grid, have your own power, basically live a life where you don't pay bills, but you do have access to the outside world. I don't believe that having access to the outside world disqualifies you from being off the grid. But to be off the grid, for those of you that just want to try being off the grid, understand there are steps that you have to take to be 100% self-sufficient. This is why you must internalize that there is a difference between being off the grid and being 100% self-sufficient, self-sustaining. So if you don't have an electric bill, if you don't have a water bill, if you don't have a telephone bill, that's even better. If you don't pay rent, that's the best. If you've got a situation where you're living far from a major city like we are, and you're living in a desert climate where there isn't running water guaranteed to every residence, unless you're willing to pay thousands of dollars for your own well, if you bring in your own water, if you bring in your own food, wherever the food comes from, even if it's from the grocery store, you are still living off the grid. Now, to be 100% self-sufficient, your water comes from your own area. You don't have to use your car to go get anything, okay? Your food comes from your area. You hunt, you garden, you do things of that nature. You have your own solar. You have, maybe a wind generator. You have batteries. Maybe you know how to make batteries. Maybe you know how to make other things that can help you live off the grid. But being 100% self-sufficient takes time. Now, this is all about progress, not perfection. And believe it or not, there are people that recently said to me, Alex, you don't live off the grid because you're a mile from a tar road. First of all, I'm 4 miles to 5 miles from the closest tar road. From that point, it's 11 miles to a small town where there's a grocery store that closes at 6:30 at night, a town that has no restaurant, a town that has one place to get fuel for your car, one gas station, but they don't have much else. So to say that one is not off the grid, to call someone a hypocrite because they don't like Walmart, but they're willing to buy a candy bar once every few months from Walmart, to call someone a hypocrite, to say that someone is not off the grid, to judge one and say you really haven't done much in the 7 months that you're here, that's all placing judgment. And those aren't the steps that you take towards building friendship. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not out here trying to make money doing anything. I'm living my life. I've lived inside the grid. I've lived inside the city. I've made money, not lots of money, but I've spent a good chunk of my lifetime working for other people. Coming out here and documenting it, putting it on YouTube, is giving you a real piece of reality on what it's like dealing with certain neighbors, what it's like dealing with isolation. If you want to live off the grid, you need to be willing to live without other people. You need to be willing to not get laid for a period of time because you're not in a city where there are other people out there that you may be able to interact with and get to know in terms of friendships or relationships. If you want to be fully self-sufficient, it's not just about the stuff. You can learn some of the basic aspects by just living off the grid and living with nothing and no one. And that can help you become more self-sufficient because you're more grateful for the things that you do have when they come. You're better with money. You're better with lots of things. You get better sleep. This environment has been a very positive influence on me. Not every aspect of it has been rewarding. There are always judgmental people that I will come across whether I'm here in the city, and I've learned to accept that now. I struggled with that for a little bit because I was expecting a little bit more open arms and kumbaya when I got here. I saw a little bit firsthand, how real life can be out here, how real it gets. So you got to watch yourself. You got to be strong. You got to be very careful who you associate with. You got to be very careful who you give your YouTube channel. But in the end, living here has just made me stronger. You may see me express some pain once in a while, and you may respond, Alex, maybe it's time to run, give up, and run back like a scared little girl back to the city. And that's your perspective, and you're entitled to have that perspective. I'm about being strong. Do you understand strength? Do you understand? Do you understand strength? Power. Right here. Do you understand what that feels like? We're able to go months and months and months without electricity. Do you realize that makes you stronger? That doesn't make you weaker. This is what I'm trying to get through to some of you city gals and you city boys. You need to set yourself free. Stop telling yourself that you can't do it. Now, final thoughts. Alex_Answery is the email. That's also the PayPal ID. So if you would like to contribute to help me get my own acre or acres, let me know if those are your intentions. If you want to donate and you want all the money to go specifically towards building materials, let me know and communicate with me directly. Because while I do need about $100 a month just to survive, just to, put gas in the car, I'm not into just survival anymore. I'm going to develop some roots here. And I'm looking right now for property, and I'll be talking more about that in a future video. But if you do want to help me in some way, shape, or form, get back to Outside the Box TV on a regular basis to the point where I'm sending it out there to access TV centers around the nation, not just YouTube. Please, by all means, communicate with me. But in terms of being self-sufficient, it's all about stages. You start at one level and you build the foundation. You create an open area where you're going to build. Then you build your foundation. Then you get your concrete. Then you start building the pillars. Then you start getting the posts. Then you deal with the roof. So it's all in stages when you're talking about being 100% self-sufficient. But being off the grid is much more basic than that. Dave, we got about 2 minutes. Response to all that.
Well, initially when I first put in my solar unit and my windmill, got everything happening, the tracker ran me $3,500. This is about 15 years ago. And some of this material was used and it's still working today. I haven't paid an electric bill in 17 years. Do the math. That's it, man.
How about plumbing?
Plumbing? Well, I went...
How about water? What's your water bill?
$20, maybe $20
at the place where you go get the water, but you don't have water at your home.
No.
No, you're off the grid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to go with this truck and go get your water.
Yeah.
You're off the grid.
Right. So $20 a month with gas.
And there are people that actually think that this is not off the grid because you're within a few miles of a tar road. What do you think about that?
I mean, we all need each other for self-sufficiency.
Right.
I mean, I could have drilled a well a long time ago, but I didn't have the cash for it. Wells are very expensive, so you have to make do with what is available to you. And there are things available here for everybody if they want to use it, if they want.
And working together.
It's a unified effort, man. And if everybody did that, I think there'd be a lot less smog.
It's something to admire.
A lot less pollution in the world.
Right. So, last thoughts. If you feel like you need to be critical of other people, maybe it's because you don't feel really secure in your own actions. All I'm trying to do is just be a real person. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not a hotshot. I'm a real human being who makes videos about real human feelings that others don't express. That's what this channel is about. This is about reality and our continued attempt to live freer, spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Hell, Alex, I'm the fucking celebrity here, man. If you want to learn about people who live off the grid and trying to get damn close to it, because I'm off the grid, man. I got my own power system and everything else. But if you want to learn about it, help Alex out and learn. Get away from Walmart. Get away from McDonald's. Get away from all that garbage and hate.